welcome to Roosevelt Live. In this segment of the show, we're going to talk about the Rodney King beating. It's been 20 years. It's 19, it's 2012, so 20 years back. As my math just slips away from me, it's 2002. 1992, sorry. 1992. It's been a long time. And that was really a tragedy, because I remember watching the video and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, they're beating this guy unbelievably. I remember thinking, this is an outrage. This is terrible. How could someone be beaten like that and then the officers be acquitted at the first trial? I remember thinking, if you can have a video of someone being beaten to that degree, and people acquitted on video. It's not something that someone told us happened. It's not someone said it happened. It's not someone exaggerated what happened. It's not someone gave a version of what happened. We saw it on video. We saw the beating. It was just unbelievable. No resistance from Rodney King whatsoever, and just being beaten and tased repeatedly by those officers. And even though I never condone people going crazy, some 54 people died, $1 billion in property damage. That's not my thing. That's not how you solve any issues. You don't burn down buildings. You don't tear places. You don't kill other people. You don't do that. That's not the answer. But truly, that should have been an answer. And there have been other Rodney Kings after the Rodney King, and that's clear. Anybody that's been around in the last 20 years know that there have been other cases where people have been beaten by officers, slammed against police cars, thrown to the ground, people beaten with batons. The list goes on and on and on. But again, it's not the entire police department in any city or state. It's just a few people that seem to think it's okay to beat other human beings, defenseless human beings, for no apparent reason whatsoever, just to be beating people and taking out their own frustrations. Sometimes I think that we need to look at these officers a little bit more carefully and make sure that they're not just out of control. I mean, that are we testing these people right, and are these people acting out their own frustrations within their own lives and taking it out on citizens that can't defend themselves? And before the age of video, even when people would go to the police station all busted up, they would just say, well, he or she resisted arrest, and this is what happened because they resisted, they were fighting back. Now with the age of video, people can't really necessarily say that, even though they still attempt to get away with it from time to time, and in cases where they do get away with it. And it's unfortunate, and I think that it puts a black eye on the police departments, the sheriff departments, and state trooper departments, where you have good officers, male and female, that do the right thing. And it's always that select few, no matter what department it is, what type of business it is, it's always going to be that select few that's going to cause other people to be questioned. It's going to cause their departments to come into question. And that happens everywhere you go. In any business you're in, it's going to be situations where if someone does something, your department will come into question. As a businessman myself, I know that I have employees and things don't go right. People, question the entire company and the stability of the company, or it's not run correctly, or this and that, all this because maybe an individual person went rogue and did something that he or she had no business. Then all of a sudden people try to blanket your entire company with the actions of a few. And that's why I try to be careful when I mention the word police as a general term, a generic term. I don't want to make it seem like all officers are out there beating on people and destroying people. A lot of officers put themselves in harm's way to save other people, as they did, of course, in the 9/11. And unless they do, and like they do every single day, they put their lives on the line to save others, as well as try to save themselves. So we know that. But 20 years later, the question really in my mind, has anything changed? Has anything changed in 20 years? In some cases, the ability clearly to know that it's happening has changed 150,000-fold. Has it stopped some of these rogue officers from violating people's civil rights? No, because some officers have actually been caught on video doing it in front of their own cruisers, which has the cameras in it. So we know that in some cases officers are still violating people's civil rights. But I just wish that more officers point the finger at the ones that are not doing the right thing within their departments, because a lot of times some citizens, not all, some citizens feels like the police department is not in their favor. Feels like that they shouldn't trust them. I don't believe in that, because as soon as something happens, who are you calling? You're calling the police, and if you're calling the police, then you must feel like they are doing something good in order to be calling them. So I don't want to make it look like I'm bashing the police because of what happened to Rodney King 20 years ago. But it was a very violent time. It was a black eye on this nation. The whole world was watching. We didn't have access to internet stuff 20 years ago as we have today. Something happened today at 5 o'clock. Everybody know about it by 5:15 because it is moving through the internet at a rapid pace of speed, and everybody's going to know. So I just wanted to touch on that because I just wanted some time in my mind, because I remember it. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember watching it over and over and over again. I mean, I was fixated on it. I couldn't believe that somebody would be beaten that viciously, beating that severely, that wasn't trying to fight back. And then I felt really concerned that all those officers that did stand around and didn't do anything, didn't seem to say enough, didn't seem to say, why are we hitting this guy that's not fighting back, didn't really seem to do anything, would just sit there and watch it happen. And that was sad. It was a time for them to step up and be counted, and a lot of those officers didn't step up and get counted, and that wasn't good. But now we fast forward to the day. There's people out there that will say that things still not going right, that they're still not getting the benefits they should, and there are people out there that feel like things are going fine and there is no problem, and the only problem is the troublemakers that bring the problem to the police department. That's not always true, but in some cases there are people out there that are doing things that are not listening to the police department and not doing things they should be doing, but not in every case. In some cases there are rogue officers that are out of control. I understand that people are a little nervous because lately people have been acting a fool and trying to take the police out and stuff. I was out of town several months ago, and to my surprise, I was at a store with a couple of my family members and saw a bunch of police cars just zooming by when we were on our way to the restaurant. We saw several police cars. They was coming from all kind of directions. And we were talking, wondering what's going on with all these officers, and they were just flying by, going over. Then we come to find out, not too far from where my brother lived, where I grew up at, there was a guy that had gone crazy and had stabbed a police officer in the neck, and he had bled to death, and he had fled in the officer's car, and one of my brothers worked for the sheriff department, and the guy had fled in one of the cars and was actually down on the street where my brother lives at, and at least he abandoned the police car down there, and of course he ran, and the standoff was severe, and needless to say, he did not come out alive, and I didn't suspect that he would. But you can't go around killing officers. Well, you can't go around killing anybody, and then you're going to get away with it. And it was really bizarre because it was just unbelievable these things were taking place that day and under those circumstances. And actually, I'm glad I didn't go in that area of town. I was going down there to visit some friends, and I'm glad I didn't go down there because I would have been trapped down there. Because clearly, the entire area down there was just shut down. Nobody was coming in that area. No one was going on. Obviously, for reasons, there was an officer that I think one had been shot and one had been stabbed in the neck and killed. And this was a bad day. And these things happen, and that's why you have to look at officers and have to try to judge them individually, because all officers are not bad officers. There's a lot of good officers out there, male and females. It's just that few that lose their mind and don't and violate people's civil rights and start beating people out of control and pulling out weapons for no apparent reason and attacking, beating up kids and slamming women to the ground and dragging them out of the car. But those are the rogue officers that just need to be weeded out and gotten rid of and put off the forces, and then we'll have a better situation at hand. And I work a lot of times with officers, police department, sheriff department, Port Authority, FDLE, Coast Guard. I mean, we in my industry a lot of times we have to work in conjunction with these people to share information when there are issues. We have to call them out to different reasons. Their reports and stuff that they share with us and things that we have to share with them. It's always worked out fine. I've never had a bad report with an officer. Just had a situation over the weekend where I had to go and view some videotapes with one of the Temple PD officers, and very nice guy. And the time we spent viewing the videos that we needed to view, things went well, and it always does, really. And like I said, that's why I might say things about the police department, but I try to make it clear that it's not all police officers. If I feel like an officer has done something wrong and it's clear that they have, I have an opinion, I will voice my opinion. But clearly I don't want to make it seem like it's all officers, because over the last almost 30 years, I've worked with hundreds of officers. And I can't honestly say that I've ran into anyone that were bad officers. I even have some police officers and sheriff department officers that are friends of mine, that I actually know and known for years. People that I worked out with in the gyms, or people that that came in and out of businesses that I was involved with, and we've gotten to know each other on first name basis and things of that nature. So I know it's a little bit off something of the Rodney King beating, but it was something that I thought about in the last few days and kept going on my mind and thinking back. It's been 20 years so quickly, so longly, and I know he says that he still have numbness in his face from the beatings that he took. Those are permanent situations, but he's broke, so if he did get any money from there, he doesn't have it anymore. He's flat broke, and he's just, I guess, living day to day like everybody else. But it was a beating that was heard around the world 20 years ago, and the man is 47 now. So he was a relatively young man then. I think he was like 25 years old when that happened. Whatever it was, 27 years old when it happened. And so it was a long time ago. But he's still alive. I saw him on Dr. Drew the other day. Saw him on a couple more programs. I think Al Sharpton had on his show. A couple more people. And, a lot of times we don't mind being famous, but who wants to be famous for being beaten nearly to death? For reasons to this day still actually to me are unknown. Because nothing justifies that type of a beating. So I can't see what the guy could have been doing. Whatever it was, he wasn't doing it at the time. He was on the ground in that circle, and they were beating the crap out of him. I would like to speak to those officers now and wonder, as they had an opportunity to reflect 20 years later, do they still hold true that they did the right thing? Do they still believe that beating they gave that man was not excessive? I would like to know what they think 20 years later. Some of them, I don't know if they're on the force or not anymore, but I would like to know what they talk about. I mean, in a dream world, obviously they're not going to let me interview them, ask me any questions. But if they did, I would like to ask them, in all honesty, 20 years later, looking back at the video, can you point out to me what he was doing that warranted a beating to that degree? Because I couldn't figure it out. And I remember lawyers saying, hey, the videotape doesn't tell everything. Oh, no? Now that's an insult to say the videotape doesn't tell everything. What does that mean? He was being beaten before the tape came on? Maybe we missed that. Because I don't know what else we could have missed that somehow, if we would have seen more, we would have somehow had a different outcome and opinion. I don't think so. But that's just my opinion. But that's just something to look at. Rodney King, 20 years later. If you care to email me, decide that you want to watch the show. If you don't know, the show comes on every Wednesday, 6:30. It plays again on Friday at 6:30, 7:30. That's on Bright House Channel 949, 950. You're a Verizon person, Channel 30, 36. And if you're Comcast, Channel 20. And if you're a YouTube junkie like I am, you go out there and catch Roosevelt Live Show. YouTube.com/Roosevelt Live. Probably got about close to 80 videos out there. Go out there and check some out if you haven't seen them. We're in season 8. So we got quite a bit of videos out there that we upload constantly. We do have new ones out there for people that haven't been seen it for a while, but there are new ones out there. There will be more to come. You can always email me, liveroosevelt@gmail.com. If you have any thoughts or opinions about anything I'm saying, feel free to contact me because I'm willing to listen to whatever you have to say, whether you agree or disagree. If you're just looking for copies of the show, you can still contact me at liveroosevelt@gmail.com, and we can make those arrangements. I'm Roosevelt. I'm your host of Roosevelt Live.